Hi guys, I am a little backed up on my videos, so you will be getting a plethora of videos. And so let's get it. Today I wanted to talk about being a free spirit and what that meant, and how, we should all be working towards becoming that. Shout out. We should all be working towards becoming that, because as Jesus said, we need to be like our inner child. And a plethora of other people mention in cosmologies and mythologies that we should be free spirited, and because that is your soul, that is your inner light, that is who you are at your core. Okay, so people rarely live out loud. Like, people are so in their adult phase that they can't even be, who they truly are. Like, we have become this ego, adult. We no longer live as kids. Not reckless, not careless, but like divinely wild. Kind of like the beauty of the animalistic nature, not the other polarity of the animalistic nature, if that makes sense. Because to be like God is to be free. So let's break this down. So before religion, before rules, before systems, there was the spirit or the soul moving across the waters, breathing life into clay, creating galaxies just because. That's free spirited energy. Creation didn't ask for permission, it expressed. And that means your divine nature is also expressive, fluid, and spontaneous. You're not meant to be robotic or constantly following someone else's pattern. You're meant to create your own. You're meant to be sovereign. You're not meant to be following rigid laws and rigid hierarchy. When you're living in tune with source, you're supposed to feel alive. You're supposed to do things that your heart feels. You're not supposed to be following societal standards. You laugh loud, you dance when you feel like dancing, you take risks, you evolve, because the great mother, the living matrix of creation, didn't design you to be trapped in survival. She designed you to create life, not just endure it. Now, when people hear free spirited, they think of a hippie or somebody that doesn't care about anything, but that's not it. Being free spirited means your spirit leads not through fear, not through guilt, not through other people's opinions of how you should be. It means you honor your own rhythm. If you feel like taking a nap during the day, you take that nap. If you feel like running through the flowers in the field, you do that. Like, you go off your own feelings. You say yes when it feels right, no when it doesn't, without needing to over explain. You follow divine flow instead of forcing everything to fit the trend. It's trusting the current instead of fighting it. That's God's energy, the wind that blows where it wills, like the scripture says. So let's get practical. If you're free spirited, your life might not look normal, but it'll feel true. You might work unconventional jobs or not have a conventional job. You might not have a 9 to 5, right? You might dress how you feel instead of following rules. And for women, you're free. If you don't feel like wearing a lot of clothes that day, you don't, because that's just how you feel. And you don't care. People might call you a whore, a slut, or whatever, because you know who the fuck you are. And that's not who you are. You just are expressing yourself. You're expressing your sexuality. And you're not caring about how you might be misunderstood. You talk to yourself, you talk to your plants, you meditate under the moon. You laugh too loud, cry without shame, sing off key in the kitchen, make silly faces. You might even do natural things that modern society calls weird. And I'll tell you something I did recently. I had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, hey, I just felt so free that I just, did it beside my car. Like, who cares? Like, that's how in tune with nature I am. And honestly, if I could live in nature just wild and free, peeing on the trees and stuff, heck, I probably would. Who gives a fuck? So, like, it's like grounding barefoot in the dirt, walking outside barefoot. Like, I'll let my kids walk barefoot. I remember one of their aunties had something to say, like, you're so low level, like, get the fuck on. Like, what? You don't even know nothing. So connecting with nature, probably is a big one. Being natural, um, bathing in a stream, whatever, right? Because you've realized your body is nature, your mother is Mother Nature, and you're not separate from it. And that reminds me, some women even do free bleeding when they're on their menstrual cycle to give back to Mother Earth. So Mother Earth can learn you. Because we come from the earth and we give our body back to the earth when we die, right? But, and this is important, it's not about being wild without wisdom, right? Because we have to have that polarity connection with the masculine and feminine. So you have to have enough logic and enough restraint to not go fully crazy, right? It's about divine wildness with awareness. See, freedom without awareness becomes chaos. Freedom with awareness becomes mastery. You can dance in the rain and respect sacred space. Oh, I love dancing in the rain, by the way. You can speak truth and do it with grace. A true free spirit knows the balance between intuition and respect. That's what makes their energy magnetic. People feel that you're real but also grounded. They can't box you in, but they can trust your heart. Being free spirit is really just remembering the original law, the natural law, Mayat. Before there were governments, before there were institutions, there was breath, sun, soul, and water. And let's be real, the indigenous tribes used to walk around naked. They were free spirited until someone came along and said, hey, here's clothes and here's sex. And I think if you don't wear clothes, that you're too sexual. Like, whatever. So when you feel the urge to step outside of the system and live differently, that's not rebellion, that's remembrance. You're remembering how your ancestors lived, following the sun, listening to your intuition, listening to the seasons, listening to the ancestors, trusting intuition over instruction. Even the animals do it. The plants do it. Only humans forgot. And somehow we separated ourselves from the natural rhythm of life. So embody divine freedom, practice these in your daily life. Move your body naturally. Dance, stretch, walk barefoot, breathe deeply. Sometimes act on your intrusive thoughts because that's your soul trying to express itself and speak and be free. Speak truth gently but boldly, no shrinking. Follow your inner nudges. If you feel guided to rest, rest. If you feel guided to create, create. But you see how life is so rigid. They have you working these 9 to 5s. Like, that's all you can do, really. And then you become so stressed out. Like, spend time in nature. She recalibrates you. Let emotions move. Don't be afraid to feel. Like, look at the ocean. Look at the river. Look at the seasons. Look at the weather. Cry, laugh, release. God doesn't suppress, God transforms. And if someone calls you too much, too emotional, too free, remember, they're only saying that because they forgot their own soul. To be like God is to live with childlike wonder and sovereign wisdom. That means you're not trying to please the world. You're co-creating with the divine, and you're just being yourself. You're not worried about what others think. You can meditate and still rap, pray and still play, love deeply and still walk away when something's not aligned. That's what true spiritual maturity looks like. Not perfection, but flow. I am not bound by law. I am the living law. Love in motion. That's the mantra of a free, spirited soul. So today I invite you to reclaim that divine wildness. Let your laughter be your prayer. Let your authenticity be your offering. Let your freedom be your ministry. If this resonated with you, like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I love you.